Hi, friends. Oh, I hope you're having such a great day. I'm so glad you're here because I need your help. Today, we're going to talk about solving math problems using different strategies. Okay, just to review, strategy is a very fancy word. Can you say the word strategy? Yeah, so fancy, right? Strategy. But strategy is really just a fancy way of saying a plan or a smart way to solve a problem. We know that when we're tackling a new problem, it's really good and helpful to have a plan or know a smart way to solve it before we even begin. Okay, that's where our good thinking comes in. Well, our learning goal today says I can use different addition strategies to solve subtraction problems. So today we're going to help ourselves by using addition strategies to figure out how to come up with the answer to a subtraction problem. How is that going to work? What strategies are we going to use? Well, let me show you. The first strategy we're going to use are our counting sticks. I love them. They're the best. Can you wiggle them for me? Very nice. Not only are they fun to wiggle, but they also are super helpful when we're talking about numbers and their parts because they give us a good picture to be able to see the numbers and what their values are. So I love counting sticks. We also, another really good strategy is to draw a picture to help show what's happening in a number sentence or in a problem. So this picture is a really good example of we had a certain amount and then the change was made where we added two more and now we have a new total. So pictures are also really helpful to show what's happening in the problem, but also to keep us organized with the work that we're doing. And then finally, the last strategy we're going to use is this tool. We're going to use the number path. Again, I love when math stays organized and tidy. Ugh, and nothing is more organized than a number path. You know what I'm saying? All right, so here we go. Let's try it out and see how we can use some addition strategies to help solve some math problems. So if I have the number sentence 6 minus 4 equals something, why do I have that big empty box right there, friends? Yeah, that's what I don't know. That's the unknown part, right? So I'm going to say 6 minus 4 equals the unknown part. And I'm going to leave an empty box there instead of a question mark because as soon as I find the answer, I want to make sure I fill it in, right? Okay, perfect. So let's see. We're going to use addition and we have different strategies. How about, let me think. Let's start by drawing a good picture. So we're going to draw what we know. So we know one of the parts is 4. So let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? You need a dry erase board and a marker or a piece of paper and a pencil. So can you go ahead and press pause and go grab those items and then come back when you're ready to draw? Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. Do you have your materials ready? Okay, perfect. So when we're drawing a picture, we're going to draw what we know. And do you remember what kind of drawing we do in math? Yes, quick math circles. Awesome. So I want you to go ahead and press pause and draw 4 math circles. And then press play when you're ready. All right, do you have your picture of 4? This is what mine looks like. I drew 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if 4 is one part and we have to get 6, we're going to go ahead and count on. Because remember, we're adding. So we're going to say 4, and then we're going to draw circles as we count until we get to 6. When we get to 6, we're going to stop. Do you remember how we show a change in our pictures? Yes, by coloring them in a little bit differently. Okay, so if you're going to count on, I recommend coloring those circles in so you can see that a change was made. All right, press pause while you do that change, then press play when you're ready. Okay, so here we go. I had 4, and then I counted on, and as I count on, I'm going to go ahead and draw new circles. Here we go. 4, 5, 6. Stop. I stopped right there because 6 was our total that we started with. Okay, so I see that I had 4 circles, and then how many more did I have to add? Yes, 1, 2. Perfect. Does that match your picture? Ooh, nice job showing that change. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to show that I added 2 more. So what would I write for my number sentence? I already have it started. It says 4. What would come next? Perfect. Write that on your board. Mhm. 4 plus 2. And what is that going to equal, friends? Yes, 6. That's what we started with our total in the very beginning over here in our number sentence, but I could also count my circles if I forgot. 4, 5, 6. All right, perfect. Okay, I want you to go ahead and, now that we know that 4 plus 2 equals 6, how is that going to help us fill in our number bond? Do you want to press pause and share your ideas with a buddy and then press play when you're ready? Go for it. Okay, so how does that addition sentence help us to figure out our number bond and the rest of that number sentence at the top? Yes. If 6 is our whole amount, it's our total, and 4 is one of the parts, then we use our addition number sentence to figure out what the other part was. And that was 2. Good job. So the same goes for our subtraction number sentence. 6 minus 4, that's one of the parts, equals, well, it's going to equal the other part, right? Yeah, because we have to add those two parts together to get 6. Okay, are you starting to see how addition strategies can help us with subtraction sentences? Yeah, I hope so. Can you go ahead and press pause, talk with a friend how you're feeling about this process so far, and then press play when you're ready to try the next one? Okay, now don't worry if you're like, I'm a little confused or I still need practice. Hey, friends, we just started this conversation, so I would need more practice too. All right, so here we go. Let's try another question, shall we? So for this one, we have 9 minus 3 equals something. That's our box for our unknown number, right? And then we have our number bond that has 9 is the total and 3 is one of the part. So what are we looking for, friends? Yes, we're looking for the other part of 9 because we already know one part is 3. We need to know the other one. So we're going to use addition. Last time we drew a picture. How about this time we use our counting sticks, okay? Oh, that's my favorite. Okay, I know. I could use counting sticks for every single problem. I love them so much. All right, so here we go. Now for our counting sticks, we can just say the part that we already know. So what part do we already know? 3. Yes, let's go ahead and say 3. Okay? And now we're going to get our counting sticks, and we are going to put a finger up as we count on from 3. And when we get to 9, we'll stop. Okay? So here we go. We're going to say 3. Have your counting sticks ready? Okay, they should be closed. All right, 3, and let's count on, and we'll put a finger up every time we count on. When we get to 9, we have to stop. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stop. All right, good. Well, we had 3, and how many more did we have to add in order before we got to 9? Yeah, we can just count our fingers that we put up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we had 3, and then we counted on 6 more fingers, or counting sticks, until we got to 9. So, what is our addition sentence going to be at the bottom? 3 plus what? Oh my goodness, you guys are so good. 3 plus 6, and what's that going to equal? Yeah, 9. Because if we had 3 and we added 6 more, that's how we got to 9. Oh my goodness, we're doing such a fantastic job. Friends, can you see, now that we know that number sentence of 3 plus 6 equals 9, how can we fill in our number bond? What's the other part there that was missing? Yep, we had 9 as the total. We had 3 as one of the parts. And what did we discover with our counting on was the other part? That's exactly right. 6. Good job. Okay. And then, oh, I see that we can finish our subtraction sentence, right? 9 minus 3 equals what? 6 again. Oh my goodness. Now, do I just like the number 6, or how does that make sense? How could we use that addition sentence to help us figure out our number bond and then also our number sentence that was for subtraction? Can you press pause and then press and chat with a buddy about that and then press play when you're ready to keep going? Okay, so we know, and you probably mentioned with your buddy, we know that if one part is 3, and when we added on 6, we got to the total 9, well, that's what shows in our number bond over here. And so that would make sense. If we had 9 and we took away one part that was 3, then of course, left over, we're going to have 6. See, when we use different strategies for addition, that can really help us to solve some of these subtraction problems. And this is just showing you another way to solve a problem. Okay, I love counting sticks. So, like I said, I could do counting sticks all day. But we already did a picture. Now we did counting sticks. Do you remember what the other strategy is that we're going to use? Yes, a number path. Let's go ahead and try it. Okay. So for this question, we have 8 minus 5 equals, we don't know yet, that's right, the unknown. And then we also have our number bond set up to show that 8 is the total amount and 5 is a part. And we decided for this one, we're going to use a number path to help us build out our addition number sentence. So we already know that 5 is one of the parts. We got that from the number bond and the number sentence up there. So we're going to get out our number path. Now, what do you think we're going to do? Where do you think we're going to start? because we know one of the parts is 5 and we need to count on until we get to the total. So where are we going to start on our number path? What do you think? Excellent. Yeah, we're going to start at 5 and we're going to count on. So we're going to hop up to what number? We're going to hop up to 8 and we're going to stop when we get to 8, right? Okay, here we go. So we can say 5 and then start hopping. Ready? Will you do it with me? Thank you. 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. We stopped because why? Yeah, that's the total we were trying to get to. So now, how do we know how many numbers we have to add to 5 to get to 8? Perfect. Yeah, we'll use our number path because each hop is adding 1. So 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So if we had to add 3, what would our addition sentence be then? 5 plus what? Yep. 5 plus 3 equals how many? It's going to equal our total of 8. Oh my goodness gracious, friends, we are so good. Okay, I am going to have you go ahead in a second. I want you to press pause. I would like you to write out that subtraction number sentence and that number bond and see if you can look at my addition number sentence that we made together to help solve both of those unknowns. Okay? We already have it right there because think about how the parts work together to make the total. All right, so I want you to, on your dry erase board or your paper, I want you to write out that subtraction sentence and then that number bond, and then fill in the unknown using what we figured out with our addition strategy. Okay, press pause while you do it, and then press play to check yourself. Okay, you have a subtraction sentence written down and a number bond written down, and you filled out the missing part, the unknown. All right, here we go. I know that we figured out with our addition strategy, 5 plus 3 more is going to equal 8. So that means if 8 is our total here and 5 is one of the parts, then of course the other part has to be 3. That's what we figured out with our addition sentence. Okay? So if that's one of the parts down here, then I also know the same thing is true for our subtraction sentence. We have 8 minus 5, which is one part. So the only part left over is going to be 3 because that's the other part. Okay. Our learning goal for today said, I can use different different addition strategies to solve subtraction problems. That's exactly what we did today, friends. And the thing is, when you're working independently, you can decide ultimately which strategy you want to use, but it's really good to stretch our minds to practice all the different strategies because you never know. One might be better to use in different situations. Okay, so I love your practicing today, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.